Green, okay. Great. So first of all, it's great to be the last speaker. So thanks for that, because it gives me the opportunity to highlight how modeling runs through all of the exciting working group locations and activities related to SZ4D that we just heard about. And I promise I'll be quick. So first of all, I'm here for the MCS. So that's the Modeling Collaboratory for Subduction. And if you listen carefully, you realize that that was this independent RCN funded in parallel to the SZ4D RCN led by Thorsten Becker. And these were the participants of that RCN that ended this fall. And a couple of activities that were conducted were workshops engaging roughly 1,000 scientists from more than 44 countries, starting with a fluid and mass transport workshop, which led to a nice year's research highlight by Kuku Bata and Leif Karlström. Then the megathrust modeling workshop in Oregon. Kilin Wang was giving a really nice keynote lecture. I still remember Kilin is here too. I see him the first time again since then, which seems a long time ago in the pandemic ago. The volcano modeling workshop, which was conducted fully remotely, spread out over several months. The volcano modeling exercise, then a landscape and seascape integration implementation workshop. And the last activity was a meeting in Boulder with a lot of acronyms, so CIG, CSDMS, and Victor. So these are basically scientists that understand themselves as the computational solid earth science initiatives, and we coordinated about how to best split up these tremendous efforts of modeling subduction zone science between existing and proposed activities. Now, the new working group is listed here. So if you see us here, please talk to us about everything related to modeling. We're just starting. And these are our objectives. And you see this Lego brick figure here, which has been a fantastic conversation and discussion starter throughout the last 2.5 years. Everybody has an opinion about this. I just want to highlight this little note there, which says reassembly encouraged, and that the meaning of that is that the modeling collaboratory should be modular. So there should be operations and physics-based tools that support SZ4D science and operational needs throughout its existence. And some of these things that we are aiming to do are constructing models that link subduction zone state and long-term margin evolution to the character and predictability of geohazards. We want to help to develop optimal observational strategies throughout the phasing of all of these instrumentational efforts. So not first putting out instruments and then collecting data and then see if we can model what was collected. Build physics-based predictive models for volcano, earthquake, and geomorphic systems, and build a diverse and equitable community of scholars who are well-versed in modern modeling tools. So building a next generation of subduction zone scientists that are not afraid of the modeling infrastructure that is around. And that's an important point because computational geoscience is actually one complementary pathway for enhancing diversity in the geosciences. And that is really something we're heavily invested in since we've been doing pretty bad over the last 40 years. So this is just one of these figures highlighting the number of PhDs, the absolute number, like 50, versus the US population in millions, like 60 million. You see this increase in Hispanic or Latino PhDs, but it's only linked to the increase in the relative US population size. And increasing the accessibility of modeling tools is one way, to get from this picture more towards that picture of what the subduction zone scientist looks like. Okay, I want to highlight a couple of modeling opportunities distributed across the different working groups. So this is the example of FEC. There's been identified the need for additional physics, some examples. 3D seismic cycle modeling, so the 3D is an important part here, mechanical modeling of subduction tow and fluid transport, so both related to the physics of fluids. We have community codes and we can build in partnership with CIG and existing and proposed earthquake centers like SCAG and Crescent. And there is a strong possibility or opportunity to enable cross-cutting science. Obviously, forecasting, prediction, cascading hazards, think earthquake, tsunamis, fluids, but especially also to link to the laboratory and field geology because we need rheology to do these kind of models. Next is MDE. The MDE community illustrate or highlighted opportunities for updating highly used legacy codes, for example, for magmatic phase equilibrium, multi-phase rheology, thermal and stress evolution. The applications they envision are ranging from fundamental hypothesis testing to sensor network design to physics-based forecasting frameworks of eruptions. They highlight their need for community building, For example, they're really interested in setting up benchmarks on volcano deformation modeling and inversion and having very specific working groups, and also enabling cross-cutting science, for example, exploring the potential link of external eruption triggering mechanisms that can range from glacial unloading to seismic waves. The L&S community is really challenging for observations because they have this very long timescales, landscape evolution, to short timescales like landslides. Their modeling can really be a bridge, right, between this not only very large space scales, but also the timescales of interest. And again, enabling cross-cutting science that was highlighted before by Christine, landslides triggered by seismic shaking, cascading surface hazards, and so on. So you see a theme here, right? All of these needs really link also to enabling cross-cutting sciences. And lastly, I want to highlight that modeling in SZ4D enables us to be data rich, for example, all the arrays that we've been discussed, and model rich at the same time. And one component that we need for that is data science, so machine learning. There's a couple of ideas. What we propose to do, we have ML techniques for data processing and denoising. That is a common theme, for example, for real-time data collection from on and offshore instrumentation of OBS, fire-rate geodesy, and also volcanic gas emissions. We can use ML techniques to enable rapid and physics-based real-time analysis of these multi-parameter arrays towards more predictive physics-based models. And we can combine ML and high-performance computing to have hybrid methods that can reduce the cost of a single physics-based simulation and allow us to do UQ, so uncertainty quantification, optimal experimental design in a more clever way. The implementation, these are a couple of guiding principles how the MCS facility should be implemented. As I said, we need physics-based forward models. We also want to enable the sustained, so continuous exchange between computational, observational, and laboratory subductions on scientists. And this is something we already saw in the workshops we've been running. This was really interdisciplinary and not focusing on people that identify themselves as modelers. We have centralized and PI-driven modelers in our Lego bricks. We want to provide tutorials, cookbooks, and workflow examples. And we want to store and help distributing SZ4D data-derived products such as community structural models. And this is the organizational structure. You could basically think that it would be split between science and operations, but it has a supportive role in access to computing resources, which empower scientists, very different backgrounds, to make use of the infrastructure and the tools that are available. And my last slide is the phasing here. That is part of the implementation plan that you've all read. Or basically by now you've seen every single figure out of it. We are hoping to provide validated, flexible, and so on, open source codes. So that is really something that should enable all of the subduction zone community to use the methods that are around and that will be developed. We embrace the principles of open science and fair data practice, and we want to empower the widest and most diverse representation of the community, so all of you to be able to use these tools. Thank you.